Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. I went to a PQ. As you can tell by this screen right here, I sucked real bad. I ended my day 2-4. But I'm going to go over it. I'm going to go over my choices and how I lost some of these matchups. Because, it's good to go back and learn from these things. This PQ was in Toronto at face to face games. It was a bit of a trip for me and my brother. He ended up not doing too well either. He played Kylo 2 Security Complex, which I might do a video on. But yeah, I played Palp Yellow, which was a choice looking back. So this is my deck. It's not too special as far as Palp Yellow decks go. Obviously, turn 1 ISB and Crumb just are amazing against Cad Tarkentown, the weenie version right now. If I play ISB turn 1 and they have anything other than the Guavian Antagonizer, the 2-3 with the draw card bounty and Saboteur, I basically am just winning off the rip. Um, they run out of cards fast, and once I have the board stabilized, it's kind of just a joke. I have way too many one pings for them to deal with. That said, didn't play any of them. I also didn't end up playing any Yodas. I didn't end up playing any Anakins, which I kind of expected. So, those heavier mid range decks did not see any of them, aside from Hantu Blue, I guess is considered. It's got quite big top end. So, why Palp Yellow? I'm going to go back to my deck in a minute, but why Palp Yellow? I've kind of already said it. I expected mid range, and I was pretty confident against control. I mean, Sneak Attack, Devastator, as you can see in the list. 3 Sneak Attacks, 2 mainboard Devastators. Relentless, Palp's Return in the sideboard. Figured, yeah, it'd be good. I got the Vaders to bring out 2 units at a time. Lots of card draw. We'll go over it in a bit. I did play 1 hard control. It went. But game one, I started off strong. It was a good day. Walked in there. Han 2 blue 4 space. Looking at this, pretty standard as far as Han 2 blues go. I mean, the Chewbacca I don't think is the most common thing, neither is the Redemption, but they're there. They've got the Kiadi, the Grogu, the Churyu, the Itinerant Warriors are kind of annoying. But just being able to stem the early damage, I was able to discard Crate Dragon from him, and I believe a Bo-Katan in game 1. And then game 2, once again, I stole a Poe and just had lethal on the board with like a Poe, a Vader, a Maul, and my Palpatine on the board because I stole a unit, killed something, and then just change of heart to just Poe the next turn. And yeah, it's a lot of damage, and he had no way to stop it. Even a Churyu can only do so much. Han is a leader when he's out is not that bad to deal with. It's 3 damage, so you definitely do want to kill him eventually. But if you're able to kill them before they use the Han ability, it also can mess with their turn. Just running the Force Lightning, try and get the Anakin triggers, that's not a big deal for me. I'm not playing big units until I flip, and I'm trying to use his units against him for the most part and just pick off his tiny ones. Really nothing too special about this matchup. He played pretty well. I felt I played pretty well. He did obviously sideboard in the Rivals in Game 2, as well as the Chams. I made sure to either Bazine or Garinden before I ramped, or just not ramp until I knew. Because you don't want a Han player ramping against you. That just gets bad really, really fast. And then Game 2. Couldn't find the actual deck list. Some people did submit theirs on paper, so this is just an example deck list here. This was Tristan. Oh, I forgot to mention. Game 1 was Sky Eye. Game 2, Tristan. Game 1, I ate a queen to the teeth. And then I was able to change of heart the queen straight into an ECL Wrecker, which was a terrible idea on my part, playing change of heart on the queen. It was a desperate attempt to get rid of her because I had no really amazing options. But then I ended up taking way too much overwhelm damage, and I had nothing on board at this point because I played Change of Heart for 6. He CL'd the Wrecker. It wasn't pretty. He was able to push damage game 1. Didn't. I drew a lot of ramp as well. I had like 5 ramp cards that I drew, and this was post mulligan. It was just unfortunate. Yeah, and then game 2, I was able to Bazine and Gavrinden away 2 of his cards, And yeah, he ended up dropping more bombs. I should have played things a little bit smoother. I got greedy trying to not play Legacy Run for some reason. I don't know what I was doing there. I was saving Legacy Run for other things, trying to get closer to Han Flip, but I should have just sneak attacked it and played it early, cleared the board, and then when he flipped, then I'd be in a better state. Was unfortunately unable to do that, and things went bad fast. Not a whole lot to say about that matchup. Once again, not the exact deck list, but pretty general Han deck list. Up next, Peter JL. This is the actual deck list. Hanwhan Yellow is like the one deck aside from Vader that I was hoping to not see. And he had it. Both games did feel very close to stabilizing. His hand was pretty empty. His leader was dead both games by the end of it, and he had very few cards in hand. I had killed a tech in each game at least. But readied units hurt. They just do. Hotshot Blaster. Game 1, I didn't even see a Cunning, which was hurtful, because that was the card I was really watching out for. And then Game 2, I saw his Cunning in his hand, got rid of something, because I had Bazine and Garindon. I got rid of, I think, one of his turn 1 plays. I think it was a Bodhi Rook, just to not get my hand destroyed. He had another turn 1, unfortunately. And then I played Garindon, and he had resourced the Cunning in the turn between in the regroup phase, which I was not expecting because the rest of his hand wasn't super strong. He had like another rogue operative, and you know, didn't see it coming. He had a rogue operative and a Han, so I was like, oh okay, rogue operative's probably gonna go down, or he'll keep that, play that, and then next turn he'll Cunning. Didn't do that at all. It was hurtful. Yeah, just couldn't stem the bleeding. Up next, Sabine. Sabine I was not expecting to see. This is CST Spectre. I did a video based on his Bale deck, actually. He's back on Sabine, because Bale, it works, just, it dies to space aggro very badly. And Yoda can be a little bit rough. I think it's in a better state now, for sure, with less Yodas going around, but then there's other problems to worry about. Anyways, the Sabine matchup. I didn't think I was going to win this, but I did win it. And I'm going to elaborate as to how I won it. I bazined his top end. His top end consists of 2-3 cards, right? Wrecker, K2, Poe. Biggest threats. Game 1, he went pretty heavy in space. However, he made the unfortunate mistake of putting Chewie on to a ship on my flip turn. So I just flipped and took it. He got one swing off with the ship. But, yeah. I got the Legacy run out both games. Was able to do 5 damage to the Bazine easily. Even with, did eat a Metal Ceremony once or twice, so had to pump more damage into things. He built this deck, so I was talking to him about it. The reason you see no Phoenix Squadron X-Wings, Phoenix Squadron, the turn 1 3/2s. The reason you don't see those is because he actually chose to go with every possible turn 1, except for, obviously, Karis, because Karis can, rush a nesting doll, that would not die to Grogu, which I think was a smart play on his part, which just meant he ended up going with black ones instead as a turn 1. They work pretty well, and he's got 2 different pilots in the deck, so, makes a lot of sense to go with that. Yeah, basically, the biggest thing was he wasn't able to play his one-way outs into my super laser techs, so I actually got decent value out of super laser techs just by swinging them into tiny units and being able to ping and then ramp, because one-way out would just mean that I can't resource them. It's a fun card. But that didn't happen, and, he was unlucky for sure in some moments of the game. He did pull out one win, but there's a few cards in his deck that were just kind of duds, playing against Palpatine. Like, Fleet Lieutenant wasn't able to do anything Sabine's masterpiece, the classic Sabine ECLing out a masterpiece into something didn't matter, which meant he didn't get the swing off with it before it died, because obviously that is a card that has to die. It can get amazing value. And the Fleet Lieutenants, he just rarely had more than one unit at a time. And if he did, obviously better things at hand, or he flipped and played a Rebel Assault, which I ate the damage of. It hurt. I was able to recover and play Reinforcement Walker to not be fearing for a cause I believe in. So, you know, it's a matchup that is winnable. I was talking to a dude who's fears the Sabine matchup, and obviously it is something to be feared for sure. But it's a winnable matchup nonetheless. So that was my second win of the day, my only win. Once again, not an actual deck list, was on paper. This one was pretty simple. It was Iden Data Vault. I play a unit, he claims. If he doesn't have power, yippee. If he doesn't have Merciless Contest, yay. Obviously, no Merciless Contest in this list. But basically, the biggest problem is both games I mulliganed searching for a Bazine or Garindin to get rid of Vigilance or even a Super Laser Blast so I could palp flip and steal something without having to fear the blast. And I couldn't find Bazine or Garindin at all. It was brutal. It hurt. It felt bad. But, was able to pull one game out. That was about it. So, hurt my ego a little bit because I did win against hard control a lot in practice. But obviously draws do affect it a lot, and I made some mistakes of just like playing one unit and then claiming, thinking I'd be able to play another unit, and he had the removal for it. The game I won, I stupidly forgot he had Annihilator in his deck and played a Relentless into it. Thankfully, I won that game because I stole the Annihilator. But just general tip for you guys, don't do that. If your opponent has Annihilator, and I saw this in his hand because this was the game I drew Bazines, I saw the Annihilator, I saw Vigilance, I was like, okay, I'll take Vigilance. I knew Annihilator was there. Relentless straight into it. It's like, yeah, he can't play events, but also he can still play Annihilator. Bad news bears, guys. Don't do that. Final game of the day. Hantu Blue. Now, I was really confident game one of the day. Hantu Blue Force, right? He did 7 damage game 1. He got me to 27 game 2. And I was just stabilized and had lethal. He had a crate too, which didn't matter because I had lethal on board. Yeah, like game 1 was great. Felt good. Force, so a little bit different of a deck. And then I walked into this. And I cried. I'm not actually. But, it felt not good. I wasn't able to stem the early aggression. He did play a Phantom 2 once. Killed that because it had 1 health. The Ogdos, thankfully, didn't eat too much damage from. And I was actually feeling pretty good in game 2. Game 1 just was unable to deal with it. I stole a Rex, had Sentinel, recovered a little bit, walked into a Crate Dragon because I got greedy and flipped and stole Rex, and didn't check if he had Crate Dragon in his hand because I didn't have Bazine or Garindin. Those cards just didn't seem to like me, except for, a few select games that day. Yeah, so got greedy, ate a Crate Dragon, had no way to kill it. Game 2 was doing pretty good. Got greedy again with my flip, stole something, can't remember exactly what, I think it was a Poe. And then he played a Crate Dragon. I was like, okay, I can kill this Crate Dragon. And then he put down Village Protectors. And I didn't have enough units on my board to get rid of Village Protectors and kill the Crate Dragon. So I lost. It's as simple as that. The Crate Dragons kill. They are the biggest threat. Bo-Katan, Luke, Anakin, they're all meant to kill my units, okay? Their value is in making my units weaker, trading better, killing my units. Poe and Crate Dragon are probably your 2 biggest fears aside from champs. Don't ramp into a champ. And if you can't take the early Ogdo, this is advice I got from Rando Mando, who is a very good Palp Yellow player. But if you don't have an answer for turn 1 Ogdo, or you don't have initiative, like if you can pop down Aura, and then they pop down an Ogdo, you're winning. But if you see them pop down Ogdo and you don't have initiative, you gotta claim and send your contracted hunter into them, or you gotta put something into that Ogdo. Taking 5 damage on turn 2 just does not work for the deck. It just doesn't. Yeah, so, also, I think I mentioned this already, not his deck list, but yeah, it was a rough day. At this point, I think part of it was just I was done with my day. I felt bad about how I had performed, and I wasn't thinking properly about my games. But, looking back, all of these matches were winnable. I think Han won yellow. That defeat was very understandable. Han 2 ECL, I mean, they're all understandable defeats, right? Like, stuff happens. Sometimes your deck blows up on you. Sometimes you are going to make mistakes, and hopefully you're able to recover from those, win other games. It's best of 3 for a reason. But yeah, Palp Yellow definitely will do well into a lot of these decks that I've shown here today, especially, the Han 2 Blues and the Iden Data Vaults. Does well into those. Han 2 ECL and Han 1 Yellow get a little bit rougher. Lots of Hans everywhere. But also, Han 1 Yellow won this PQ. I don't have his deck list up on this, but Han 1 Yellow won. So, or not Han 1 Yellow, Jesus Christ. Palp Yellow. Palp Yellow won. So, very strong deck. In the right hands, it can win. And I think I'm definitely going to play the deck a little bit more until rotation happens, and then move on to something different, something more fun. But yes, thank you all for watching. Hopefully, people are watching this, since I haven't uploaded in like 500,000 years. But I will see you all hopefully shortly with some post-rotation decks.